Hello dear students. Welcome back in class 10th biology. Students, I hope that you all are safe and sound at your homes. I also hope that you all are studying sincerely and watching all video lectures very carefully. Today again we will continue chapter 6 life processes. The topic of today's lecture is transportation in human beings part 2. In part 1, you have learned in detail about internal structure of human heart and its working. In part 2, transportation in human beings, today you will learn about types of blood vessels, that is arteries, veins and capillaries and their characteristics, difference between arteries and veins, blood, its components and functions of blood in human body, lymph, its formation and its functions in human body, difference between lymph and blood. Let us start with blood vessels. There are three types of blood vessels in human body: arteries, veins and capillaries. Let us start with arteries. Arteries are distributing blood vessels which carry oxygenated blood, that is oxygen rich blood, from heart to various body organs except pulmonary artery. Pulmonary artery is the only artery that carries deoxygenated blood, that is carbon dioxide rich blood, from right ventricle of heart to lungs for its oxygenation. Arteries have thick elastic muscular walls. You can see from this diagram that arteries have thick elastic muscular wall. As the blood emerges from heart into arteries under very high pressure, to bear this high blood pressure inside arteries, arteries have thick elastic muscular walls. Arteries have narrow lumen without walls. Lumen means, you can see from this picture, lumen means the cavity or the space inside the arteries through which blood flows. And this lumen inside the arteries is very narrow and it is without valves. Blood flows in them under very high pressure with jerks. So, due to high blood pressure and narrow lumen inside the arteries, there is no chance of backflow of blood. So, arteries do not need valves. Hence, valves are absent in arteries. Arteries are generally deep seated in the body. Now, let us study about veins. Veins are the collecting blood vessels which carry deoxygenated blood from the different parts of the body organs to the heart except pulmonary veins. Pulmonary veins are the only blood vessels that carry oxygenated blood from lungs to the right atrium of heart. Veins have thin walls. You can see from this picture that the walls in veins is thin because the blood is no longer under pressure and flows very smoothly through the veins. So the veins have wide lumen with valves to prevent backflow of the blood. Because of the wide lumen and smooth flow of blood which is no longer under pressure, there are chances of backflow of blood. So to prevent the backflow of blood, these valves have these veins have valves inside them. You can see from this diagram that valves are present inside the veins to prevent the backflow of the blood. They will carry the blood only towards heart in one direction only. Veins are superficially situated and can be seen from the surface of skin. Now let us study about capillaries. Capillaries are the smallest blood vessels that have walls which are one cell thick only. Again, you can see from this picture, their walls are very thin, which are only one cell thick. These capillaries are link between arteries and veins. When the artery enters any organ or tissue, it divides and redivides to form smaller and smaller blood vessels called capillaries. And these capillaries form network inside the body organ or tissues. These network of capillaries carry the blood from the arteries and bring it in contact with all individual cells and help in exchange of materials between the blood and surrounding cells across their walls. Then they reunite and comes out in the form of veins. So students, I hope that you have learnt about the characteristics of arteries, veins and capillaries, and you are able to answer all the questions related to arteries, veins and capillaries comfortably. Let us see one such type of question. Comment upon statement: arteries have thicker elastic walls than the veins. Instead, veins have walls. I hope that after learning about the characteristics of arteries, veins and capillaries, you will answer this question very comfortably. Similarly, you can be asked in exam the difference between arteries and veins on the basis of their structure and nature of blood that flows inside them. To answer this question, let us have a look on the difference between arteries and veins. Difference between arteries and veins um, is based upon different characteristics. First of all, what is the difference between arteries and veins on the basis of definition? What arteries means? Arteries are the blood vessels which carry blood away from the heart to the various body organs. Veins are the blood vessels that carry the blood from the various body organs towards heart. On the basis of pressure, blood flows under high pressure with jerks in arteries. Blood is no longer under pressure in veins and flows very smoothly. On the basis of thickness, arteries have thick and elastic wall. Veins, they have comparatively thinner and less elastic walls. Valves. Valves are absent in arteries. Valves are present in veins to prevent the backflow of blood. On the basis of lumen, arteries have narrow lumen, veins have wide lumen. On the basis of nature of blood, arteries carry oxygenated blood except pulmonary artery. Veins carry deoxygenated blood except pulmonary veins. Speed. Blood flows rapidly in arteries. Blood flows slowly in veins. Position of arteries in the body. Arteries are generally deep seated. Veins are generally superficial to the body. Nature of work they perform. Arteries are distributive in nature, means they carry the blood from the heart to the various body organs. Veins are collective in nature, means they collect the blood from the various organs and carry it towards heart. So, after doing this difference between arteries and veins on the basis of various characteristics, you can easily answer the question in if asked in the exams on the basis of various characteristics or in general. You can write any point. Now let us study about the circulatory fluid present in human body. There are two main circulatory fluid that carry various substances from one part of the body to another part of the body through these blood vessels. One part of circulatory fluid is blood and the second important circulatory fluid is lymph. Let us study about blood and its components. Blood is a red colored fluid connective tissue, you all know. It mainly consists of plasma and blood corpuscles. Plasma. It is a pale yellow fluid part of the blood having 90 to 92% water and 10% other substances like proteins, nutrients, respiratory gases like oxygen, carbon dioxide, waste products like urea, uric acid, etc. Second, blood corpuscles. Blood corpuscles like red blood corpuscles, white blood corpuscles, blood platelets are present in the liquid part of the blood, that is blood plasma. Now let us see what are the various functions of blood. It is responsible for the transportation of digested food materials from small intestine to various parts of the body. It carries excretory materials like urea, uric acid to the organs of excretory excretion, that is kidney. It also carries hormones from endocrine glands to the target organs for its further function. It transports oxygen from lungs to all parts of the body by forming oxyhemoglobin, the hemoglobin present in the red blood cells. It also carries carbon dioxide from body tissues to lungs for its removal. It maintains constant body temperature. It also maintains pH level of the body. It also provides immunity with the help of white blood corpuscles. It also helps in clotting of blood with the help of blood platelets in case of external injury to prevent blood loss. Now let us study about another circulating fluid which plays very important role in transportation of substances from one part of the body to another, that is lymph. Lymph is a colorless fluid formed from blood plasma. It contains less proteins, lacks red blood cells and blood platelets. How is lymph formed in the human body? Let us know about, with the help of this diagram, the formation of lymph in the human body. Students, when any branch of artery, that is arteriole, enters any body organ or tissues, it divides to form smaller blood vessels called blood capillaries and form a network of capillaries in the tissue spaces of body organs or cells. The walls of capillaries have small pores. You can see from this diagram, this portion represent the capillary and these small holes represent the pores present in the walls of the capillaries. When the capillaries carry the blood in the tissue organs or tissues of the body, due to blood pressure, the liquid part of the blood, that is blood plasma, escapes out into the tissue spaces or intercellular spaces present between the cells, along with various substances like proteins, nutrients, respiratory gases, and supply it towards the body cells. So it acts as the middleman for the exchange of materials between the body cells and the blood. It is also known as interstitial fluid as it is present in between the body cells. So it helps in the movement or exchange of substances to and fro from the body cells. Uh, this tissue fluid returns into the capillaries through these pores. You can see from the direction of these arrows. Most of the tissue fluid from the intercellular spaces or tissue spaces goes back into the blood and comes out from body organs or tissues in the form of veins. But some of the tissue fluid remains behind in the tissue spaces. Where does it go? Now this tissue fluid, extra tissue fluid or excess tissue fluid which remains behind in the tissue spaces goes to another type of thin walled capillaries called lymph capillaries, which unite to form lymph vessels. When this tissue fluid enters the lymph capillaries and lymph vessels, then this is known as lymph. These lymph capillaries or lymph vessels are the blind lymph vessels that arise from the tissue spaces and take the excess tissue fluid, which is known as lymph now, back to the bloodstream through the larger veins of the body near heart. And these lymph vessels form the network of lymph capillaries throughout the body. From this diagram, you will come to know about that along with arteries, capillaries, blood capillaries and veins, there are another type of network of capillaries called lymph capillaries, which are represented by the green color. This green color network of capillaries are the lymph capillaries, which drains the excess fluid present in the tissue spaces and pour it back into the bloodstream through the larger veins of the body near heart. So, students, what you have learned with the help of these diagrams, let us see again and recall what you have learned with the help of this diagram about the formation of lymph in the body. So, when blood flows through capillaries, some amount of blood plasma, proteins, and special WBC escape out through the pores present in the walls of capillaries into intercellular spaces in the tissues and forms tissue fluid or lymph. This tissue fluid is known as interstitial fluid. It acts as medium for the exchange of nutrients, gases, and waste products from the body between tissue fluid and blood. Most of the tissue fluid is absorbed back in the bloodstream in the veins, but small amount of tissue fluid still remains around the tissues. This tissue fluid flows into lymph capillaries and is known as lymph. These lymph capillaries join to form lymph vessels. The lymph vessels in these the lymph in these vessels is poured back into the larger veins near heart. So this is how the lymph is produced and formed in the human body. Let us see about the various functions of lymph. It acts as middleman for the exchange of materials between blood and tissue fluid. You have seen with the help of diagram the exchange of materials between blood and tissue fluid. It carries lymphocytes and antibodies from lymph nodes to blood. Students, lymph nodes are the structures present in the lymph vessels, which are the lymphatic tissues in which the lymphocytes, the special type of WBC, mature and plays very important role in fighting off the disease causing microbes or pathogens entering in the body and provide immunity. It absorbs fatty acids and cholesterol, that is digested fats, from the villi of small intestine through lacteals, that is network of lymph capillaries. About this you have learnt in detail in digestive system of human beings. It drains excess fluid from extracellular spaces or interstitial spaces or tissue spaces back into the blood. Its lymphocytes, the special type of WBC, destroy the harmful pathogens and provide immunity to the body. It also helps in maintaining the blood volume. So let us see now what is major difference between blood and lymph. Blood. Blood is red in color. Lymph is colorless. Blood contains RBC, WBC and blood platelets. Lymph. In lymph, red blood cells and platelets are absent and WBC count is low. But the special type of WBC, that is lymphocyte count, is quite high. Hemoglobin is present in red blood cells. Hemoglobin is absent in lymph. In blood, blood flows rapidly in blood vessels, whereas lymph flows slowly in lymph vessels. Blood flow is bidirectional, that is from heart to organs and organs to heart. Lymph flow is unidirectional, that is it starts from tissue spaces and goes to larger veins of the body. For example, subclavian veins present near the chest. Blood transports different materials like oxygen, carbon dioxide, glucose, waste materials, and hormones from one part of the body to another. Lymph acts as middleman for the exchange of materials between blood and tissue fluid. So, student, this is all about today's lecture. I hope that you have understood the various types of blood vessels, arteries, veins, capillaries, and the difference between them. You have learnt about the circulatory fluids like blood and lymph, and the difference between blood and lymph. If you have any query or any doubt, you can contact me telephonically or through WhatsApp to get your queries satisfied. So, students, thank you so much. Stay healthy, stay safe, and stay at home.